It looked like a loving church until she cried in her car alone. You know the type of story I mean? Everyone smiled at her. Someone even said, "We're so glad you're here." And yet she sat in her car afterward and whispered, "Why do I still feel invisible?" Hey, I'm Shawn, and if you're like other pastors I've worked with, you care deeply about people. You preach with your heart, you greet folks at the door, you want your church to be a place of love, not just attendance. But lately, maybe you felt that quiet ache, that something still isn't clicking. People come, but they don't stay, or they stay, but they don't really connect. Today, I want to walk with you through 3 gentle shifts, simple, doable things that can help your church feel less like an event and more like home. Shift number 1, move from friendly to family. Most churches would describe themselves as friendly, and honestly, they probably are. Greeters smile, coffee's hot, someone even opened up the door. But friendliness is different than family. Family says, "I want to know you, not just greet you." I imagine you're saying, "But Shawn, we're friendly. We're family." Let me ask you this. When's the last time someone from your church invited someone new over for dinner? Not a potluck, not a ministry team meeting, just dinner. Around the table with real conversation, no agenda. Because love is rarely felt in rows. It's felt in kitchens, over burnt lasagna with kids running around and someone's dog barking in the backyard. If you want a more loving church, start building more tables, literally, emotionally, and spiritually. Shift number 2, break the belonging barrier. It has been my experience and evaluation that people don't leave churches because the sermon was bad. They left because they didn't find a way in. And it's not always your fault. Sometimes it's just the church culture. The cliques, the shared history, the way everyone laughs at an inside joke, but the newcomer doesn't understand. You can feel like an outsider even when everyone's nice to you. I once coached a church that couldn't figure out why visitors kept disappearing. They had smiling greeters, great worship. After visiting the church service, the reason was very clear. No one sat next to new people during the service. No one followed up with a text. No one noticed when they didn't come back the following week. So here's one small change you can make. Assign a few people, not staff, trusted members, to look for people standing alone before the service. Have them sit with them. Introduce them to other people in the church. And follow up midway with a simple text. "Hey, it was great meeting you. Want to grab coffee sometime?" That's all. No plan, no pitch, just presence. That's how people go from watching to belonging. Shift number 3, lead with stories, not announcements. Every week, most churches spend 3 to 5 minutes on announcements. And every week, most people forget by lunch. But stories stick. I remember a pastor who changed the entire vibe of their church, not with a sermon series, but with testimonies. Every Sunday, they opened the service with a 60-second story. How a young couple found support in a small group during a miscarriage. How a teenager came alive in their faith after being mentored. How a widow finally felt seen when someone invited her out for lunch. You could feel the atmosphere shift. It went from "here's what's coming up" to "here's what love looks like." So what if instead of launching the next ministry fair with flyers, you invited someone to share how they were changed by serving? What if the next volunteer call wasn't a spreadsheet, but a story? Because people don't want more information, they want inspiration. They want evidence that love lives here. A loving church doesn't have to be flashy. It just has to be intentional. And sometimes all it takes is one person who says, I want to help us feel like family. That person could be you. This Sunday, this week, one meal, one conversation, one story at a time. I love to hear your story. Has your church ever made a shift that helped people feel more loved? Drop it in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what another pastor needs to hear today. And if you're serious about building the kind of church where people feel safe and seen and supported, I invite you to watch this video next, where I explain the common mistakes churches make that push first-time guests away. See you there.